In the early innings of Friday's series opener with Morehead State, South Carolina coach Paul Mainieri found himself making a decision that was eerily similar to the one that he made last Friday at Clemson, where Matthew Becker was on the mound, struggling in the early innings, and Mainieri decided to take his starter out and bring in Brandon Stone in a tight jam and try to get the Gamecocks out of it and give them a chance in the later innings. And it worked out to an extent last Friday, where Stone pitched really well, but South Carolina didn't get the win. This time, though, it worked out really well to where Stone pitched great, and then South Carolina was able to make a late 8th inning comeback with a 5-run rally to pick up an 11-7 win over the Eagles here in the series opener on Friday night at Founders Park. But it wouldn't have been possible without Stone, who really pitched well. Again, you have to take into account that the Gamecocks were already down 4-0 in this game when Becker got the second out of the inning. Hunter Thomas, who has just been tearing the cover off the ball this season with 7 homers already and like 25 RBIs. It was a tough spot to where Mainieri felt that if Becker was still in and gave up a potential home run or something, that puts the game out of reach. And who knows if that ends up happening if Becker stays in, and maybe he is able to get the final out. But Mainieri felt comfortable enough to put Stone in that situation, and it really did work out as he got Thomas to strike out looking, and then from there pitched really well. Gave up 2 runs over 5 2/3 innings, 9 strikeouts, 2 walks. I mean, look, he did this last Friday against Clemson, only giving up 1 run, and he was excellent again tonight. And that allowed, like I said before, the Gamecocks to make their comeback in the later innings. They didn't have to come back just once, but twice and 3 times in this game. There were different points where Morehead State was leading, but the offense was able to fight back, and then eventually it boiled over to where that 5-run rally in the 8th was the difference. Jordan Carrion tied the game at 7 with an RBI single after Max Coffer had reached second base on a pop-up in shallow left field that probably should have been caught, but it went between the third baseman and the shortstop to where the ball just landed in no man's land, and it allowed Coffer to reach, and then Carrion brings home the run. And then later on in the inning, with the bases loaded, Blake Jackson, who had pinch hit for Jace Voida earlier on, drove in a run to take the eventual lead for good with an RBI single into right field. But that was not all. Ethan Petrie, who started the night 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts, he had just made a great double play on a catch and throw to home plate to end the 8th inning that allowed South Carolina to have a chance to keep the game tight going into the bottom of the frame. And then he demolished, right behind me here, about halfway up the bleachers out in left field, demolished a 420-foot, 113-mile-an-hour 3-run homer to give South Carolina the cushion it needed to finish this game off in the 9th. And for Petrie, it was a big home run, given that it was his 49th career bomb at South Carolina, which moves him past Hank Small for second place on the Gamecocks' all-time home run list. So he's inching closer to history and just continues to hit the ball all over the field. So a very good night for South Carolina in that the offense was able to come through in the later innings, and also got a really good outing once again from Stone, which it's a topic for another day, but leads to the discussion of, does that change anything in the weekend rotation going into SEC play against Oklahoma next week? Paul Mainieri was not ready to make any decisions on that, obviously, but it is something that they will definitely take a look at and consider over the next few days leading into that series starting next Friday. But the Gamecocks now have a chance to win the series tomorrow afternoon. First pitch at 4 p.m. Jake McCoy will get the start on the mound as the Gamecocks will look to make it 4 wins in a row. So I will be back here tomorrow afternoon providing all live updates and coverage on GamecockCentral.com. So once again, South Carolina comes from behind to pick up an 11-7 win over Morehead State here on Friday night. So for GamecockCentral.com, I'm Jack Veltri.